Expertise versus experience. Experience versus expertise. Expertise, from my perspective, is deep. Experience can be shallow. This is the first in a series of learn, think, acts around building expertise and gaining experience. Let's go to the whiteboard. Expertise to action. That's one of the things that we do with our guided whiteboard sessions and strategic collaborative discussions. But if we think about it in this T shape, we can have experience. And that experience can be very broad, or it can be narrow. But let's look at it from the perspective of broad experience. And over time, your experience broadens if you put yourself in situations where you get a chance to test things, to do things. As you've heard me say before, you can't reflect on what you're going to do. You can reflect on experiences you have. You can read and learn a lot through reading or watching video or watching movies or listening to podcasts or going through all of those things. That's an awareness that you might have. So your awareness of something might even be bigger. So let's put awareness at the top. We have awareness, then we move into experience. And then from there, we can build on the things that are super interesting. We can build expertise. And you can choose a handful of things that you want to be an expert on. One of the ways that I like to think about this is first I've got to be aware of something, then I've got to do something, and then I've got to decide, do I want to go deeper? Now, what gets really cool is if you can take, let's say, 3 areas of expertise, have those somewhat related to each other, and now you can start connecting the dots and build this pillar of deep knowledge and expertise that will lift it up higher based on experience and awareness. That's how I'd like to think about expertise and experience and awareness. So knowledge, do we know that it exists? Experience, have we done it before? Expertise, have we done it enough times where we can help somebody else do that thing better, faster, more efficient, etc. In order to gain expertise or be an expert in a specific area, we need to understand what the fundamentals are. Think about what a professional does. A professional does the fundamentals properly over and over and over again. They're an expert in the fundamentals. We need to go deeper into this specific thing that we're working on. We need to be curious so that we can go in and do deep research. That deep research comes from reading, listening, learning, interacting with others. We need to be able to test and iterate. This is what experts do in a specific area. Now, I have deep expertise in a couple of things. I'm an expert when it comes to client acquisition. I'm an expert when it comes to retention and expansion. I'm an expert when it comes to one-to-one demand generation or demand generation through partners. Those are my areas of expertise. If you look at the Dare to Grow model, you can see a couple of those pieces. What am I not an expert in? I am not an expert in one-to-many marketing, broad level copywriting. I'm getting better at cleaning up language, doing videos like this and sharing, building up both awareness and experience, but I would not consider myself an expert in any of those areas. Let's look at this through the lens of awareness. We know. Experience, we've done. Expertise, we are committed to doing. And we go deeper. If we know the fundamentals, we stay curious and continue to learn. We do the research, we interact, we test, we iterate, we have feedback loops. Through that feedback, we can build deep expertise in the thing that we're interested in. How do we get information? How do we start doing, get some experience, and then how do we build expertise and identify where we want to build expertise? From a foundational perspective, think about the things that you are aware of that exist out there. Think about the things that you've experienced or done, and think of the things that you want to go deeper in doing, and maybe I'll say deeper here, deep expertise. Now, there's different levels of expertise. And I think if you look at something like martial arts, you can see this really clearly. You start as a white belt. That's where you get that first experience doing something. You start as a white belt. As you continue to build expertise, create this foundation of deeper expertise, you get to the point where at the end you're a black belt. And there might be different levels of being a black belt. So what are you going to be a black belt in when it comes to building your specific area of expertise? Kicking off the series, Learn, Think, Act, related to experience versus expertise, starting with awareness, moving into experience, then building expertise. And we'll start to build out over the course of the next couple of weeks how to build that specific expertise, and then the balance of taking that out and starting to gain additional experience. And we've seen it before in this kind of yin-yang thing. I think that experience versus expertise, there's this balance where we're constantly building our expertise through deeper experience. And by gaining more experience, we can figure out where do we want to go deep when it comes to expertise. I'd love to hear how you think about the differences between experience and expertise. And if you have a personal story that you'd like to share with me that I can include in this series, please let me know. Thank you.